What is going on, people? Welcome to another episode. We're breaking down today FAMU and South Carolina State. I know you all know what's at stake today. I know you all know about what the history is in this game in particular. But just a couple things also too to fill y'all in on currently right now, and it's huge SWAC news right now. Jackson State is throttling Alabama A&M. So yes, Coach Manor should have kept his mouth shut. The other thing too, currently in-state rival Bethune-Cookman currently trails Mississippi Valley 7-6, and that's a little bit of a surprise if that holds true. I'm not sure how far into that game they are. And then also too, as expected, Alcorn is handling Grambling for their homecoming right now, currently 21-6. So without further ado, y'all don't go anywhere. The intro's next. It's going to be an interesting breakdown. A lot of stuff has happened between the Alabama State game, which we didn't get to react to, which we'll kind of hit on a little bit, and then with why not us coming into play now for FAMU football, and then also too, what's at stake today with South Carolina State that I'm sure all of you know, and what some of you may not know. So don't go anywhere. The intro's next. It's going to be an interesting show, and you'll hear my thoughts and everything as always, and even a score prediction. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Here's the intro. So, what's going on, folks? So, yeah, let's dive right into it. So, and the first thing I do want to hit on is, of course, and oh my goodness, I think Florida State just scored a touchdown. No, they did not. No, it's not. It's 21-10 currently still. No, my fault. But as I was saying, at the half, it is currently Florida State 21, UNC 10. I'll keep you updated with scores as well while I'm doing this. But as well too, like I said, I do want to give credit where credit is due. So definitely, as I said on the Run and Gun podcast Wednesday night, kudos go out to AD Gaucher, President Larry Robinson, head coach Willie Simmons' staff, that entire support group of people that are associated with Florida A&M football and the whole athletics department. Uh, Dr. Chipman in the March 100. A lot of credit goes to all those people because of this, Why Not Us documentary that Chris Paul chose Florida A&M for this reason. I mean, why not? First year in the SWAC, first HBCU to go the distance and win the FCS national title. Blue blood, well respected as far as HBC football goes, NFL draft picks, all of these things. Why not talk about it? And that's the beautiful thing about when Why Not Us gets on air here this week. You're going to see much like a Hard Knocks type of vibe, or even when Florida State did their a season with on HBO, or I think it was on HBO or Showtime. I think it was. You're going to see that a lot of people think sometimes student athletes are just meatheads that work out all day and play football on Saturdays or play sports. When entirely that's not the truth. You're going to see guys that have lives. You're going to see guys that go to class, guys that are honor students. I remember when Chris Padul was, I believe he was going into his sophomore season. Willie Simmons' first year. He was taking classes at HCC here in its community college here in Hillsborough County. I took chemistry with him. So yeah, these guys have real lives. They're people. They're people too. So I mean, that's the thing that you're going to see. You're going to see, that family life. You're going to see what goes on. You're going to see how that brotherhood is built in a locker room and all those things. And that's the beautiful thing that these types of things do. Whether it was basketball when they did it with North Carolina Central, whether it was, you know, FAMU. So it's going to be fun to see, and I think America is going to like what they see. It's going to be that look behind the curtain that the entire country needs to see about what goes into HBCU football. What is the game environment like, especially in a place like Tallahassee where FAMU has not lost since 2018, and they haven't lost. They have lost since they played against the team that they're playing against today, who is South Carolina State, that comes in with a 1-3 record, but has shown that they can put up points. So without further ado, let's jump right into it with South Carolina State. So last week they won against Bethune-Cookman 42-35. They were up 42-7 at one point, but Bethune rallied back late, much kind of like what you saw with Texas earlier, but Bethune was not able to close it out and win. A couple facts that people may not know is Buddy Pugh has not lost a game inside of Bragg Memorial Stadium. He's outlasted 5 FAMU coaches. Pugh, in his first trip to Bragg in 2002, in his first season, defeated Billy Joe 31-13. That would be the last time that Billy Joe and Buddy Pugh would go at it and match wits in Bragg, because Billy Joe would, eventually coach against him in 2003, and then they didn't play each other in 2004 because of the whole mix-up with trying to go to the FBS level. So, hey, it happens. And then in comes Reuben Carter. Reuben Carter can't get the best of him. I think his best game was he lost by 7 to them. He didn't work. He was fired. Joe Taylor comes in. FAMU was good, but not good enough to beat the champs, South Carolina State. So I think his closest game, he lost by 7. And then eventually he stepped down. He retired, never coached again. And then in comes Earl Holmes. Earl Holmes can't do much. Doesn't beat South Carolina State. Things get worse. He's fired the week of homecoming. And then after that, Alex Wood. Alex Wood doesn't do anything. And I think that was the game with the infamous speech of, if I could cut all these kids, I would. And that's where he lost the locker room for the next 2 years, and he ended up getting fired. And now in comes Willie Simmons. So, yeah, I believe, that's what. Let's see, Billy Joe, Reuben Carter, Joe Taylor, Alex Wood, Earl Holmes. Yeah, see, Buddy Pugh's outlasted 5 FAMU coaches. But Willie Simmons is different, I think. In 2018, this team didn't really know their identity. They were still trying to figure out how to win games and how to finish games. And I think that is something that they've learned how to do, obviously, since 2018, because I can tell you now, the 2018 team and the 2021 team are night and day. Different personnel, different everything. Things change year to year with the team. And that's the beautiful thing about this. So I don't think that it will be easy sledding for Buddy P when he comes into Tallahassee today. He's 14-2 versus FAMU since 2002. Neither of those games were in Bragg. They were both in Orangeburg. Joe Taylor got it done in 2011. Willie Simmons got it done in 2019. Both were pretty close. Last week, they torched Bethune-Cookman for 314 passing yards. Very talented rushing attack. 3 different running backs scored a touchdown in that game. Had 231 total rushing yards last week. They surrendered 100 – oh, no. Ooh, that's wrong. That's not – ignore that. 557 total yards of offense, 25 first downs. Like I said earlier, they led 42-7 going into the fourth. They allowed Bethune-Cookman to score 28 unanswered in the fourth, which that's kind of suspect. So I don't know. But and then the other thing too is, and this is where you question their discipline. They had 12 penalties for 130 yards. So are they disciplined? Do they do the little things right? Do they line up properly? Do they check with the official at the sideline to say, am I on or am I off? Do they know how many people are supposed to be in the backfield at a certain time? Do they know what personnel need to be on the field for this, and this when the time comes? So those little things like that are the things that, and again, I'm not a coach, but when you look at it, it's like, those are the little things that coaches and a lot of people talk about. Are you doing those things right to ensure that those penalties don't happen? So again, was that the case for these 12 penalties for 130 yards? We will find out today, because I don't know if they cleaned it up from Bethune-Cookman to FAMU now. I am not sure. As well, two players to watch for South Carolina State. Corey Fields Jr., who I think, honestly, outside of Shedeur Sanders, is the most talented QB FAMU has seen so far. 20 of 30, 314 yards passing, 1 touchdown pass. Running back Dante Anthony, 9 carries, 67 yards, 2 TDs. Running back Kentrell Flowers, 13 carries, 64 yards, 2 TDs. Wide receiver Adonis Davis, 5 receptions, 117 yards. Wide receiver Will Vereen, 5 receptions, 101 yards. So, yes, they can sling it. They can sling it. And then also to defensive back Patrick Godbolt, who had 1 interception last week. So, yeah, they got playmakers. Majorly on the offensive side. But they can also create turnovers, as you can see. And Bethune turned the ball over quite a bit in that game. Are they a team that can – are they a team that can finish in the fourth? I see, look, that makes me wonder about that, because your ability to finish determines a lot about, what type of team will you be in late November and what your team's mindset is. Because obviously, as you can see, 42-35, they almost blew that game. So can they finish in the fourth if they get a lead? This is why you got to keep chopping if you do find yourself in a deficit if you are FAMU. How stout is their rushing attack? I don't know, because for one, I can tell you the truth. Bethune-Cookman's rushing defense is not as good as FAMU's. It's not. It probably was in years past, but it's not now. It's just I'm just going to tell you the truth. It's not. And that's what we're going to learn about today, because that rushing attack will be tested against probably one of the best, if not the best, rushing defenses in the country. Plus the fact, too, that this rushing defense got eligible one of their star defensive players. How balanced is this offense? I'm honestly intrigued to see how balanced their offense really is today. 314 yards, 1 touchdown. It's interesting. But then the fact, too, that, two running backs got 2 touchdowns apiece. It's pretty interesting. Plus, a third running back, he also got a touchdown, too. So we're going to see. But the other thing, too, also that you got to point out is the wide receivers, they racked up over 100 yards. So it is, I think, a pretty balanced attack. And if they can stay balanced, there's a chance. Why is this the toughest run defense they'll see at the FCS level? Why? FAMU's got big-time shot callers in the secondary. They got guys that have literally been lifting for 2 years in the front 7. So that's what we need to consider. And all that added with, people constantly saying, well, you ain't going to do nothing when you get in the SWAC, adds more motivation to when you lift. You run a little bit harder when you're running those 110s in the summer. You lift a little bit more extra weight when you're in the weight room. in that offseason program. So, hey, that's what it is. Why is it important for them to try to establish the running game? Look, I don't know if you're going to be able to establish the running game today against this defense. If I'm Buddy Pugh, you better have a excellent plan as to how to bust loose and blocking assignments and creating certain gaps against this FAMU defense. You better. But I really couldn't tell you if he will or not, because I thought honestly the best offensive line, or the two best offensive lines that FAMU saw this season, were USF and Jackson State, and they weren't really able to find much success running up the middle and in the gaps. So I doubt that that'll happen today. I really do. I don't even know if Dante Anthony and Kentrell Flowers get over 60 yards today. I wouldn't bank on that, because you saw what FAMU did to Ezra Gray and company last week. Why is it critical they take away? Oh, how important is it for them to eliminate the 12 penalties for under 30 yards? That is very critical, because why? If you create that many penalties, you do not win games often. And that is a testament to why they almost lost last week, or almost ended up going to overtime last week. History is doomed to repeat itself. Just saying. So with that now shifts over to Florida A&M, which last week had a big win against Alabama State, 28-0. They honestly physically beat the crap out of Alabama State. If I'm just going to use a PG term of words here, physically beat the crap out of them. And honestly, a lot of people are like, wow, that's interesting. Well, yeah, it is very interesting, but we also need to consider this. FAMU's been basically they've had 2 full off seasons to just lift and get prepared for what was to come down the pipe. And then also, too, you got to remember this: Alabama State played in the spring. So how is the spring starting to affect some of these teams? Like we're seeing, Grambling, they got their same problems still from what it looks like lingering here in the fall from the spring. Alabama State, they played tough in the spring. They looked weary. Alabama A&M played in the spring. They were SWAC champs in the spring. They look weary. Is the spring playing a role? And is FAMU hitting their stride at the right time? Because I think the offense, if it can find a groove, it will click today, I think. So it's pretty interesting, because honestly, it was insane about the amount of guys that went out. I don't like to poke fun at injuries. I've had a torn labrum in my shoulder and an ACL tear before in my life. So I don't really like to poke fun at injuries on people, but the amount of injuries that they had last week was a testament, I think, to the strength and conditioning of Alabama State and how good a shape FAMU was in. So, and kudos to the strength and conditioning coach FAMU has, honestly. But let me jump right into these known facts. That was the first home shutout since homecoming of 2018. McKay has yet to throw an INT, knock on wood. Isaiah Lamb was named HBC National Player of the Week by Box to Row, I believe it was. FAMU hasn't lost a home game since 2018. They dominated Alabama State at the point of attack. They held Alabama State to less than 100 yards rushing and receiving. 14 straight games with a turnover. I think they're destined for number 15 today. And then also, too, which is something that a lot of people can't seem to realize, which is just so eye-popping when you really look at it. And as I said, Buddy Pugh's outlasted 5 FAMU coaches. They haven't beaten South Carolina State at home since 1998. The score was 37-14 that night. It was the week before the Florida Classic. And FAMU hasn't beaten them since. The 99, 2000, and 2001 games were all in Jacksonville, so they didn't play and brag. But I think, honestly, I think FAMU would have pounded them regardless of where the game had been, whether it had been in Tallahassee or Jacksonville, or if it had been played in Seattle. But also too, Savion Williams, and this is the blessing that we had all been waiting on that came out of the sky. Savion Williams has been cleared to play by the NCAA, finally, which I don't understand why it took so long. So thankfully, Savion Williams can play this week. You look at what the goals that he has laid out for himself, and you're just excited for what's to come. He wants multiple sack games. He still plans on being an All-American, even though we're 4 games in, because FAMU's 2-2. Yeah, we're 4 games in going into Game 5, and he still has aspirations to be an All-American. I'm a believer. I am firmly a believer. And he's got the tape to show for it between Tennessee and what he's going to put on film for FAMU. So I fully believe it's possible. I would not rule it out yet, but that's a heck of a football player if you can do that on a limited number of games, on not a full schedule. But the only thing I do question is, and that I worry about is, how many live reps has he gotten since fall camp? Was he able to practice leading up to this week? So is he going to be on a snap count? Is he not? Because, look, honestly, if he's not and he has to go in there and just play like, say, Richard Sherman did Sunday night for the Bucs with all those DBs going down, if he has to step in and play, hopefully, he can quickly adapt to game speed. I know, having played in the SEC, he should be able to adapt right away because, look, I'm going to be honest with you, the SEC is the toughest conference in the country. No, that's no offense to HBCU football, but the difference is in the linemen. And that's what a lot of people that have played the game at the highest level say. But I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, the players to watch: quarterback Rashawn McKay, 11-23, 152 yards. Like I said, yet to turn the ball over. Running back Bishop Bonnet, 9 carries, 45 yards. You'd like to see more yards, but I think, honestly, as the season progresses, those rushing lanes will continue to open up. I think once everybody gets in sync, and, of course, offense takes more time, that'll come together. But we got 1 TD. Xavier Smith, 6 receptions, 62 yards, 1 TD. The wealth is being spread on this offense, people. DB Courtney Cox, first interception of the season. He returned it 50 yards. Defensive end Isaiah Land, 3 sacks. As you know, HBCU National Player of the Week. Defensive end Savion Williams just became eligible. All these guys are players to watch for FAMU today. Because I want to see, I want to see the competition between all the defensive ends and how they're able to maneuver their way and get to the quarterback. Because I'm going to be honest with you, that FAMU front seven whipped the daylights. And I'm being PG when I say daylights. They whooped the daylights out of Alabama State's offensive line. South Carolina State's offensive line, traditionally known for being a big, physical, nasty offensive line. They want to get after you. They want to push you downhill. They want to get up to the second level. Can this FAMU defense whip South Carolina State this week? Because honestly, look, when you look at film, sometimes film tells two stories. Film either tells you, oh my God, we got to play them, or film tells you who you're about to whoop. And honestly, when I really look back at some of the stats and stuff and some of the game film from South Carolina State and Bethune-Cookman, I'm just like, oh my gosh, man, he's going to kill these guys. I'm looking at their offensive line coach talking them up and stuff about, what they're going to do and stuff and put on film and whatnot. And I'm just like, they didn't really put too much impressive stuff on film, to be honest with you. That's just my take of it. But as far as this goes, questions. Why is being a game changer working for Rashawn McKay? Look, all you need to do in most of these cases when you have a plethora of talent around you like this, just do your part. What is it the Patriots used to say when they had Tom Brady and Teddy Bruschi and all those guys? Do your job and everything else will take care of the rest. Just, look, if he needs to be a game manager, like I said, in college football, everybody always wants that guy, but you don't need to be that guy to win games most of the time. This is one of those instances. If he could just be a game manager and just do his job and maybe have a breakout performance here soon, like I really hope he's due for with a trip to Huntsville coming up, which I'm not so much worried about anymore as I was previously. Um, I think he's got potential to be that type of guy because that's all he needs to do is just be a game manager, go out there, do what you need to do to win. Don't be the reason that the team lost the game. And I think honestly, he's learned that because the fact that and honestly, I really look at it like this. I thought Jackson State was the best defense FAMU is going to play against this season. That's what I think. Because I mean, look, you see the best defense in the country in practice every day. You saw probably one of the other best defenses week 1. I don't see anybody else on this schedule that comes close. I just don't. So I think honestly, if he can just be a game manager, maybe take over a game or two this season, you're going to see FAMU probably win out and run the table. How much better can this defense get? With the addition of Savion Williams coming off the corner and aiding in this pass rush, very, very much better. A whole lot much better. Scary good. The numbers can only go up because he's literally got personal goals for himself, and then you got to think about the fact he's already coming into this game because he's pissed off because he hasn't been able to play for 4 weeks or 5 weeks. So he's even got a bigger chip on his shoulder. So from where it go, this defense is going to get a lot better the more they get in sync and get comfortable with each other. When will the offense really reach its true potential? I'm hoping today's the day, honestly. I'm hoping today's the day. I think we all are hoping today's the day because at some point the light has got to come on. Because you saw spurts of it last week, but it wasn't really there. And then you might see spurts of it this week, and you hope it just full on comes full throttle. That coupled with a great defense or excellent defense is very scary. Why is it important that they establish the run? Honestly, the run so far has been the bread and butter. That's why it's important. If you can get Terrell Jennings, Bishop Bonnet, Jalen McLeod, DeAndre Francis, and company going, and get them going early and often, that's going to open up the passing lanes. And honestly, back to what I was saying about Rashawn McKay being a game manager. A quarterback's best friend is a competent running game. If you can run the ball, it's going to force everybody to come up, read run, and then that's when you burn them with your tight ends and your wide receivers. So that's really honestly why they need to establish the run first. If they can establish the run first, they'll be fine. How long until we see Jeremiah Pruitt break out? Like this is one guy that I was really hoping for. They tried to work him in last week, and I saw that they threw a deep bomb to him and stuff that just didn't connect. It was off by just like a little smidget. But I think he is due. It's coming soon. They tried to work him in against Jackson State as well, but it didn't happen. So I think it's coming. It's coming soon, and hopefully it sticks. I'm confident Jeremiah Pruitt will eventually take over a game. And honestly, I could say the same thing about Jamari Shareed. I think, honestly, sooner or later, Jamari Shareed's going to run a kick return back for a touchdown. I really do. And I think sooner or later, Xavier Smith's going to get a punt return for a touchdown. So it's coming, I think. I think it's coming. I hope it's coming. One final thing. When will we see Eric Smith get added to the defensive fold? And honestly, I'm wondering when we're going to see Eric Smith and Tevin Griffey. Maybe Tevin Griffey is one of the younger guys, and Willie Simmons and staff feel like he's not ready yet. But Eric Smith was pretty decent his freshman year in 2019. So that's why I'm wondering, what's taken so long? And why haven't we seen him yet? So I think sooner or later you're going to see Eric Smith get worked into the fold. I'm not sure if he was working through an injury or not. I know they lost Herman Jackson for the season to a fractured hip. I don't know what's taken Eric Smith so long. Hopefully he's added into the fold today. That would be another great element added to an already scary defense that has Savion Williams coming back. So hopefully they're missing something like that. And with that, I'm going to read off the keys to victory before I get off of here. Keys to victory today, of course, includes establish the run. Establish the run, you open up the pass. You open up the pass, helps your game manager in a ton of ways. Number 2, stop the run. If you can stop the run and eliminate the run and take that out for South Carolina State, force Corey Fields Jr. to pass. Hey, you know what? He went 20 of 30 for 314 yards and 1 TD last week. I want to see him do it again against a better secondary. I would much rather Corey Fields Jr. throw the ball than them establish the run. I really would. So that's why I say stop the run first. You stop the run, I think you shut down South Carolina State. And then also to stay disciplined, because a lot of people are saying, last week should have been like a 42-0 win for FAMU instead of 28-0. And I think a little bit of it was the discipline and stuff and the jawing after the play and everything like that. I think that'll be fixed this week. And if that's fixed this week, then I think you'll see a more fluid functioning team that will be able to put up more points constantly at will and not have plays come back because of like doing little things like causing penalties for unsportsmanlike conduct. And with that, I'm going to give my final score for this one today. I got FAMU winning 38-10. Actually, no. I'm going to go 34-10. I think FAMU wins this game today 34-10. I think FAMU will move to 3-2 and then walk into Huntsville next week with a chance to go to 4-2. And practically, I think, eliminate Alabama A&M from conference play. I think that's what it's going to be. See, I'm going to go 38-10. As always, make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, both of those are Penalty Talk. Instagram's @ThrowFlags. Like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as you are watching this, as I bring it up. So yeah, make sure you like, share, and subscribe and follow. It's right there. Ding, ding, ding. So yeah, make sure you do that. And also too, make sure you leave a comment down below on this video as well. Thank you so much, folks. I hope you enjoy the game. If you are in Tallahassee, going to the game, stay safe. Enjoy the festivities and everything, honestly. That's my 2 cents. That's my takeaway of it. Enjoy the festivities, the game day environment. I know there's this new thing called Rattler Walk is happening, so enjoy that. Honestly, I think it already happened, but enjoy all of it, man. And then, of course, check back in right here. We'll be live again. We're not going anywhere, catching a flight this week, thank God. Oh, that's such a hassle going through TSA. God, Jesus Christ. But enough of me bantering about stuff that doesn't matter. But yeah, definitely check in at the end of the game. We'll be here. I'll be here reacting. Make sure you leave a comment after the game too. We will react together. We'll discuss everything, what we saw, what needs to be worked on, what does need to be worked on. So hopefully we get hopefully there's a FAMU victory today, and the winning streak at home goes up another game. So yeah, that's my final for today. FAMU 34, South Carolina State 10. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you after the game.